actually my afternoon.
It's going down like this, motherfucker.
Shit, boy, I'm trying to make me some money. Nigga get mad. Say, motherfucker, what you mean you ain't gonna let me in this funky joint? Much money I done spent in here, nigga. I knew your mama when she was hoeing. Hump, baby. Shit, bet I do it over time. Fade that nigga. Shit. Bet the bar. Off time. Shit, boy, I'm trying to make me some money. Boy, I'm hungry as a hog needs slop Jesus. Shit, gotta be a Jesus, cause too many black folks.
Well, once again, coming back for the afternoon, which, I rarely do afternoons, but I'm back for the afternoon hour before I go out and play pickleball. I'm going to come because I'm not coming on tonight. So I thought it would be great to do the Big Eagle Hour. Trey Finesse, what's happening? Thank you for joining.
Got to have vision.
Crazy Sarge, you got this beautiful weather that's here in Minneapolis?
Got to have vision.
Yeah, it's beautiful up here. As soon as my fiance gets back, I am going to play pickleball. So thought I'd come on here for a little while because, I'm not coming on tonight because I take Friday nights off. I take Tuesday. Well, I take Saturday. What would this be? Yeah, I take Saturday mornings off. So, yeah, Friday night, Saturday morning. I'm back tomorrow night or Saturday night. That's all. And so, this is kind of a lazy day because really no sports other than the local baseball, no playoffs tonight because hockey playoffs and the NBA playoffs are all going to be on Saturday. So nothing going on tonight on fire sports-wise going into this holiday weekend. And it's interesting, there's a lot of sales. They kind of get you with the Father's Day is coming up and Memorial Day sales, Father's Day sales. So it's interesting. I went to Macy's and Macy's got some good sales. Because you do get what you pay for. I know a lot of people, I make fun of people when they buying clothes and stuff, but if you buy good clothes, they're going to last you if you take care of them. And that's the point of buying certain things. Now, I think like Boss clothes are ridiculous because if you give me a print shirt that's a print, what good is it to me? I mean, you got to look at the quality of the material. And just because you printing something on there does not mean that what you print, just because it says a given name, that is quality stuff. I don't see that like that. Boss stuff is nice, but when you printing stuff, I don't mind paying more when they stitch something in a t-shirt. I don't mind that. When you stitch something on a t-shirt, you should get more. But when you just printing stuff and it says your name, I disagree. And remember, Boss is also Russell, and they made uniforms for them Nazis. They made uniforms for them Nazis.
It's going down like this, motherfucker.
Yeah, that's right. It's going down like that. So as you're out enjoying, get out and get some sun. As soon as my fiance comes back, we're going to go out. We're going to go into Minneapolis and play pickleball with my friend. With my friend, Tony. My best friend, Tony. And, I'm smoking all day. Have to say, my stash of wax is slowly going away. Oh, did I turn it off? Oh, I guess it was on already. And so, beautiful day, got a lot of sleep, which, sleep is important. I have to still go downstairs and stretch, because stretching is important, especially as you get older. And As you know, I think from anybody listening to me, I'm quite active. You know, I try to at least walk a mile or a couple miles every day, get my heart rate up. Oh, the stocks. Ooh, stocks are taking a hit. Let's check it out. And let's see what it's hitting on. Because it is closing bell. Weekend closing bell was 20 minutes ago. What? Okay. And everything, okay. Apple sold up. Because I know Nike stock took a hit. But yeah, Apple stock is up. S&P overall is up 59 points. Yeah, so it looks like going into the weekend, everybody's feeling pretty good. Where's gold? Let's see. Closing bell. That one to catch, or that's me. Let's see. Closing bell for gold. Gold price today. All right, so it closed at 1963. And it looked like all day it's been, well, went today a high of 1975 is where it went. So you actually lost about 14 bucks from the high it went to where it closed. So it was a little bit of money to be made there. For those of you that speculate. I was trying to find silver because I know silver was at $22 yesterday. Nope. I think it's ready. PJ Allen, what's happening?
Got to have vision.
What is happening? Got the new to me dirt bike out yesterday and had some fun. Going to start on a free four-wheeler today. Oh, bad. That is outstanding. A fun thing that we're going to do where my mother lives. Where my mother lives is interesting because she lives on, technically it's a path they have. And the paths go from Eden Prairie all the way into the city. I mean, this is quite a path. But where my mother lives, you can rent electric bikes. And it's funny, like, I don't know if you guys seen the cities where they got the big green bikes. You used to could rent bikes. And this was the premise. You would rent the bike and you would take this bike so far and then you would get a new bike. And then you take that one so far and then you'd get a new, you know, you would, as you were trying to progress, you would ride certain bikes so far. And then they gave, you know, the electric scooters was downtown. You know, you could ride the electric scooters. But I just think, you know, the e-bikes are so fun. And like here, it's great because you can rent them. And right where this place, you can rent them in St. Louis Park. The trails are right there. And you can go for a minute. And, you know, of course, they're all pedal and ride. So, yeah. Yeah, definitely got to keep busy. And that's what I'm always dinking around the house. We're going to get flowers. I'm taking my plants outside. My fiance's like, don't take the plant. I'm like, these suckers going outside. Let them be real plants. And so we're doing all that. I know my plants will thrive. She's like, well, don't be pissed if animals eat the plants. Yeah, I'll sit guard if I see, no, because deer come back here. But, you know, in the summertime, in the wintertime when deer would lay back under the trees when it's extremely cold, they want to get away from predators because they know people's here. There's no noise. People got their windows shut. Summertime, you're going to hear noise, and deer tend to stay away from noise. So, and that's most animal. Hey, James, thank you for joining.
Got to have vision.
The other night, you had me dying. Everything is cool your way. You know, I'll just be having fun, man. You know, it's like it's all kind of stories. That's the thing. It's like you can slant any kind of story any way you want to slant it. So it's wretchedness and everything. Wretchedness is not just one thing and for one group. Ratchetness goes across the board. And unfortunately, working people, the working class people, tend to have the most ratchet lives, or slightly below working class people tend to have the most ratchet lives, and that's unfortunate. And it's got everything to do with conditions. Here we go. Has everything to do with opportunity, conditions. I mean, we look at Chicago. A place that you would think has unlimited opportunity because of its size and jobs and everything, resources. But yet we see these young people over there acting like, again, they call it Chirac. They call it the land of Israel. And that's why I hope when I go to Chicago, I get to see, Pomatic. I want to introduce him to people that have never heard him rap before. Not rap, but just, talk. Because he lives there. I know a couple people live there. And so just to get their perspective. Because young people, I'm getting a custom Lakers jersey, you mean? Plant marigolds by those plants. Deer don't like marigolds. Thank you. Thank you for telling me that. Thank you. Okay, that's cool. That's cool. Thank you for that. I would definitely do that. Because it's just my corn plant, which is 12 years old. My corn plant is older than my daughter. I bought my corn plant in May of 2011, and my daughter wasn't born until August. So when I got it, the plant had already been growing so that plant is 12, 13, at least 12 years old in some. 12 years old in some. Yeah, you mean jersey. You getting a custom Lakers jersey? Yeah, I'm still a Lakers fan. I've been a Lakers fan since Wilt. I mean, that's really what made me be a Lakers fan. Now I buy mostly, Timberwolf gear, and I think because I live here, and I guess my number 2 team would be the Timberwolves because I enjoy the Timberwolves and I go to their games the most. But I am a Lakers fan. I've been a Lakers fan since Wilt, and it was like when Shaq left. I like Shaq. I was a Shaq fan, but I was more a Lakers fan than Shaq. So I kept supporting the Lakers and Kobe just because my allegiance from being a young boy. That's all. All of it is still fixed, but it doesn't mean I can't have fun with the gear. I like the gear too. Right now, they got the Lakers stuff is really, really like LeBron jerseys are easy and very affordable. The Lakers equipment is very affordable. Our Lakers jackets and stuff, they got some nice gold jackets on Fantastics. So, it just depends what you like. You just because the Eagles lost, it didn't stop me from getting Eagle stuff. Wearing the Eagle stuff, I still have fun with it. Oh, yeah, Shaq was interesting because I think what they did with Shaq is they flooded him with opportunity, and while he was taking all those opportunity, it took away somewhat from his game. And that's at least the way, they were putting it. They were pushing the agenda. Because, okay, this guy is so dominant that if we don't give him some distractions, he might just, it'd be unfair. And remember, we were talking about some weeks ago, we were talking about Hack-a-Shaq, when they started doing that, when he didn't show, and he's not the first person. I mean, same thing happened to Wilt Chamberlain. People don't remember that. But Wilt Chamberlain was not a great free throw shooter. And you can also catch some of Wilt shooting underhand like Rick Barry, because he went to Rick Barry and was like, man, I'm struggling with this stuff. What do I do? So it's just practice. Free throws is practice. And you do the same thing basically over and over again. I've been with dudes that would just shoot and make hundreds of free throws. Like, just be fucking around, hundreds of free throws. And, PJ would know, like, if you're a real player and you really into it like that, it's nothing to shoot 500 to 1,000 shots a day. And that ain't even counting playing. I mean, people forget, like, when I was playing semi-pro all those years, I played every day. I played sometime 2 or 3 semi-pro leagues in the wintertime, playing a morning league, a morning league I played in, and it was 2 evening leagues I played in. So, you know, my off days, I'm playing. and you know, at the time, having 4 or 5 children too, you know, and the boys come to the gym with me that was old enough. They go in the gym with me. So, you know, Pale Horse. That's right.
My bitches. You saying you can't control your bitches? What?
That's right. Welcome, Pale Horse.
You got to have vision.
What's your opinion on G League and overseas? We know it's scripted, but do you think the G League and overseas is? G League is decent. Yeah, I don't mind the G League. I'll answer that question first. The technology can travel. Give you a prime example. When Chet Holmgren, and then the boy who's playing Orlando, his name will come to me for a minute, and Master P son, they was all hooping here. And they put some of those games on TV. It appeared like some of those hoops was manipulated. Now again, the old system is not, you know, not very hard. And so I'll say it like this. If they bet on the games, which you can bet on G League games, you can bet on the games overseas. So that's kind of what you have to go by. If there's bets and there's a line on the games, you pretty much know they're already scripted. Now, is there some tournament where nobody cares and nobody sees overseas? Possibly. That's very possibly could be. That possibly could be. So, but for the most part, if there's a betting line on it, they're scripted. And really, I would almost say that the G League is probably where they practice a lot of the technology as well. So they might have games where, you know, they just practice on the technology, trying to hone in and make the technology better. So I say yes, but it's like, you know, it's the same thing. It's you still got to go up and down. You still got to act like you playing defense, like they say in wrestling. You still got to be able to take the falls. Just like in football, you still got to be able to get tackled and get back up. It was like, I think Sly mentioned this with Jim Brown. Jim Brown, he psyched out to everybody because what he would do is when he would get tackled, he would always get up slow. So it didn't matter if he had a 50-yard run, if he had a 10-yard run, he got up the same way every time. So psychologically, as people could never say, you know, we rocked him, you know, so. And so you still got to be able to take all that. And you still got to be able to play at a high level. Pickleball, yes. Pickleball within an hour or two. Yeah, I was supposed to play this morning. I got dyslexia. And you can see, I set my alarm. I set my alarm for, what the hell was it? 7:15. I went to bed roughly when I got done here, 3:30. So I was going to wake up and I look at my stuff and it says 7:15 p.m. So it didn't wake me up. So I was going to go play this morning, but not yet. But I got my stuff on. Oh, let me show y'all. These is my $11 Adidas shorts, brand new from Macy's. Ooh, Adidas. $11. They got all kind of sales. So to have good stuff, you ain't got to pay a lot of money. I just found out I got jinky. All my Adidas tops are pretty jinky, so I got to get some more Adidas tops. But yeah, so I'm gonna play. I'm gonna play. Borant Cheryl, I don't know why. Let me see. Absolutely, muscle memory. Yeah, muscle memory in effect. Yeah, it's the same thing over and over again. That's the free throw. Muscle memory. It's the same thing. It's the same repetition. It's like running. Like when I've said this before with my daughter doing baton. This and me being a wide receiver, she was born to do baton. I mean, it's in her DNA to pay attention to catch because of my background. It's in her DNA because if you're spinning 3 batons, it is almost the same thing as a receiver running, looking up and seeing the ball and then turning your head back down. Because again, if you run like this, you're going to run slower. So it's times where you have to just glance and you catch the ball. You know, you glance up. So you running, you head down, and you like, okay, I got a little more to go because you know the spot. And mentally, it's like, oh, that ball gonna land right there. So I need to keep running. And it's the same thing. You turn your head back away from it. And so it's this, and like what's interesting when they do baton competitions, is people walking around. Now, can you imagine a person trying to twirl 3 batons and it's people walking around you? That can throw your concentration away. And the thing to see it, you know, I used to when I used to the way I teach, and I still catch a football today, is I catch it with my eyes. Everything is, you know, my head is going, my eyes are going, and that's how I taught it. And then I tuck. Now, some cats didn't like doing that. I know Gary Clark said he never did that, but he was a body catcher. You know, you ain't looking around and you trapping it. And trapping it'll make you drop a bunch. It'll make you drop a bunch. And then it's like times where you gotta catch in your hands. And yet you want it to go into your body. If it comes here, you know it's gonna hit your shoulder pads. So anywhere in here, you gotta catch it in your hands. You can't always just trap it in your body. And that shows the difference between, you know, a good receiver and a person can just catch. So, I don't know why there isn't more morning leagues. Best runs we used to have was 5MM LA Fitness a couple years back. Man, like I'll say, like the biggest difference when I moved, when I was 24 years old and I moved back to Michigan, moved back home, was immediately it was semi-pro leagues that I walked into. It was like the first winter I played. Trying to think, it was afternoon. It wasn't in the morning. It was like we played, the semi-pro league was probably 1, 2 in the afternoon. It was an afternoon league. That was, you know, and that was in 85. So that was back in 85. Yeah, well, 85 going into 86. September, yeah. So, you know, I immediately just started playing pickup ball, and they, dudes I knew was like, you know, after playing, it's like, okay. And you know, when I moved back, I was like 2 years maybe away from football. So, and I was like solid 250, but 250 in shape. I had been hooping before I moved back, and I still had the ability to. What helped me being a football player was I had the ability to cut on a person the same way, like running a pattern. Like I could dribble a person the same way I could fake a person out on a pattern. I mean, I could dribble that way. I could cut dribbling, and so it was kind of. It's a unique thing, and I guess I was very unique in that way, is I could do a football cut, just like I'm running straight at you, and then I can dodge you, you know. You're going to run that way, I'm going to run this way. I could dribble at you and do the same thing. Dribble at you and then make that football cut, still while dribbling. So, it's an ability I had. Yeah, it's still, you know, it's still around. It's still around. As the years grew by, now that summer, Battle Creek had one of the best semi-pro leagues of all the cities, really. I played in another league. One hoop was 10 foot, the other hoop was 9 foot. And literally used to hop from one place to the other, you know, get done with one, ride to the other place. I'd play games back to back. I think one time I played, was it 3 games back to back? I know I played 2 games back to back. It was like for third place. It's like we had to play to get in the third place game. And then they gave me like, I had hit 11 threes. I hit 9 threes. I'm taking my shoes off, thinking I'm going to get a break. And then they made us play a game within like 10 minutes rest, 15 minutes rest. Wasn't really fair. And we only had, I think, 6 people. And so I remember cramping up and stuff, and we lost it. And then we didn't get beat by a better team. We kind of just didn't have it. I mean, it was like a tough game to even put us in that game. And then not having any rest. It was like, I think I scored 100 points in 3 games, some shit like that. But you know, it's a lot going on. Plus, I've been drinking all this water, so I'm gonna take a quick break to go get some water. But it is interesting. It is interesting. Let's find. Yeah, I think this will show it. on what's happening today. Where was it? Oh, yeah, this is it. Let me see. This is it. And this is crazy. This ain't enough to give me a break, but this is it. Okay, let's stop. This is here in town. I caught this morning. This is just, man, it's like it's always something. You know, she's becoming my favorite. Always, look at that. Hair's always whipped. Looks like her natural hair. Like the makeup, like the accessory. Her clothes always look good, but the story is messed up. All right, here we go. I think I muted.
Last night, officers came to the school and found a 17-year-old boy stabbed. Police say after the stabbing, a large fight broke out. Minutes later, officers heard gunshots and found a 16-year-old outside with a gun. That teen was taken into custody along with another boy. John Lordson joins us now from Washburn High School. John, what else have you learned?
Yeah, hi, Sheila. Yeah, the 16-year-old boy who allegedly fired the gun was holding a Glock handgun with a 50-round drum, according to police. Now, we should also mention that a 15-year-old boy, as a result of that fight inside the school, was taken to HCMC, rushed to HCMC with serious injuries, but his injuries are not related to the shooting outside the school or the stabbing inside the school. So a chaotic night, to say the very least. The middle school next door had to go on lockdown. While all of this was happening, witnesses say there was a Somali Culture Night celebration happening inside the auditorium when the fight broke out. This morning we talked to the neighbor who lives by the school.
It's really confusing to hear that in this part of town, and I know things like that happen in cities, and we want to support the kids that need the help and be available for them. So it's a community issue that we want to participate in. So.
Like, why didn't he wash his hair? I mean, at least the collar's together. But, dude, when's the last time you washed your hair? Oh, my goodness, he looks greasy. But let's go.
However we can help, we want to participate.
School district released a response this morning calling all of this senseless, and they did.
Now, again, when you see hair way down here, it's because they had to glue it in. And you can see how his natural hair is, and so all this is fake. But when you see that, now some men do have a widow peak, but this is beyond the widow's peak. This is a toupee. This is glued in. But let's go. See, they at least gave him a decent shirt. But let's go. Beautiful day here, though.
Confirmed that 2 people were arrested here last night. Now, the district says they are working with police as they continue on with this investigation. Shayla.
Our John Lordson reporting. Thank you so much, John.
Yeah, so I caught this morning when I got up. So every day, you know, it can be something. And, you know, when you have a big country, we have a fairly big country. And people don't realize how big a country we have. Oh, my goodness, I'm going to show this later. Yeah, I'm going to show that later. I'm not going to show that right now. People forget how big a country we have. I mean, this is a big country. So, of course, when you have these millions, it's always good. DeAndre Hopkins got released. Wonder where he goes. Chiefs, Ravens, Chargers. Arizona Cardinals still have to pay him $21 million. Yeah, and that's good business. That's good business. You know, you get traded, but, you know, they going to pay you that bread. He's lost a step. I don't know. He struggles on press. Even at his peak, he still was struggling against press, even at his peak. And I don't mean press as in, I mean getting off the line press. Now, like once he got separation, you know, he could catch. He had the grip gloves. One of his early catches is one of the greatest grip gloves catches of all time. So I don't know. I mean, he's a possession receiver. He ain't running by nobody anymore. You know, he's not running by people. So I don't know. It's like, which one of those teams needs a possession receiver? Because that's all he has to offer. He's not running by you. And in the game of who they look for slots. Hey, Derek, Ravens. PJ said the Ravens. Okay, the Ravens. All right. Hey, Derek, what's happening?
Got to have vision.
There you go. Definitely the Hero Twins. And that's what I love about pickleball. Pickleball is the greatest example of being the hero twin in itself. Because if you look at it, and I think even Sly alluded when they talked about they come in twos. Well, again, the hero twins were twos. And when you're playing yourself, you're playing, opposite yourself. Even like a one-on-one tennis match, you're technically playing yourself. And so when you do it into pickleball, you have 4 people that have to cooperate or the game never gets going. Even though I mess up, I have to throw the ball back to the other team so we can keep going the game. So you see, despite us going against each other, there has to be a cooperation to keep the game functioning. And so you're actually mirroring yourself. And basketball is the same way. 5-5. You're mirroring left hand, right hand, left hand. Well, it's I was trying to give it from your perspective. And so that's what it is. It's a mirroring. Hey, the finesse, the Chiefs or Ravens. Thank you for joining.
You got to have vision.
I don't know, because he's an X. He's an X. Yeah, he's an X. So he's gonna struggle as Z. He's gonna struggle with the bigger safeties that can hit harder. He's gonna struggle playing Z. So he's an X. He's got to be outside. And normally they want the outside people to be able to, run by people. And he ain't running by anybody. So I don't know where he fits in anymore, because that's what happens to possession receivers. Oh, I got to take this. Give me a second. All right, getting the business together. The weather in my town is unreal. The weather's nice here. It's beautiful. What is it? It's 77 and sunny here. But I'll say this, at night it's cool. Like, we leave the windows open some nights. We haven't even turned our air conditioner on yet. Matter of fact, the heat is still kicked on some nights. So, Lobo, my main man.
You got to have vision.
I'm in Denmark and I am roasting. Oh, you live in Denmark. Oh, okay. Well, you guys not used to that. You probably used to like what I got. I'd say the Ravens, I don't trust all their wide receivers to stay healthy. Well, he'll be X. I mean, if they want to like a slow X receiver, and I was only gonna say is like what happened to my friend Greg Jennings, and I think Greg Jennings still lives in Eden Prairie. I have to see when he podcasts. I know he was with Fox, but Greg, again, if you're an X, you gotta be able to blaze by people. And Greg was always, a borderline could blaze by people. He had good size too. But when you lose that ability to get by people, and you had an X. It puts you at what is it? Why? It puts you at yeah. I mean, you could run some Z, flanker wide receiver. You can run some of those sets. But if you just straight up an X, they expect you to run by people. When you lose that, possession receivers ain't. I mean, some people, there's still a place for possession receivers, but less and less you seeing. And that's why, for shorter dudes, you have quickness, playing slots is great. I mean, if you have children, the children should be playing 7-on-7 if they have any kind of athletic ability. I mean, 7, and that's what all the games is turning into that. You can survive 7-on-7. You can survive football, so. But yeah, it's good to see Brother Lobo. We appreciate you coming through. So I don't. So we'll see. We'll see where he fits. You know, a slow X. Again. You know, the defenses can roll when they know you can't. They can't. You know, they can't run by you. The defenses can roll the defense to cut out them outs, curls, comebacks, because that's what possession receivers have to run. Every now and then, maybe a bubble screen, you know, a quick dig. I used to like just catching little digs and just dashing by dudes, you know. I think my first college play was they used to put us in the slot and we had like just a straight shoot. And so it's literally you're in the slot because, you know, slot we're standing up or, you know, we're on ready and you just open up like this. And that was one of my favorite things because it showed like we played the week before we played in the Meadowlands. It was like I was open all day for first downs and he didn't give it to me. In the film, they kept getting on him. So we played Johnson C. Smith down in Charlotte. And sure enough, he was killing me with them shoots. It was like as soon as you turn, he would drop back and he would turn and dump it to me. And shoot, I just get to working on them. I used to love those little, you know, catches short and then make them run. You know, they call it yaks, yard after catches. Get them yaks up, them yards after catches. And I was looking at was it a thing about Jerry Rice putting Jerry Rice into the College Hall of Fame? Because I think technically he was a Black College All-American. I don't know if Jerry Rice made any of the Associated Press or Newsweek or whatever it used to be called, Sports Week, I think it was called. That's why I was reading that article about Chuck Ealy. And the reason why Chuck Ealy isn't in the College Hall of Fame is because they don't recognize the newspaper or the association that called him an All-American. and it's like that's a subjective thing too, being called All-American, because PJ, this might have been around even when you was of age. So they're like, when my senior year, they sent me a book and I paid for the book and it made me an All-American and it put all my stats in there. And I forget the name of the book. You know, it was only like $40-50 and they send you the book and they put your stats and they make you All-American. So that's very subjective. That wasn't the McDonald All-American. That was something else. So I don't know if anybody else heard that about Jerry Rice. Y'all the joy. Oh, no. Yeah, I showed this last night. Veto's rideshare bill. Yeah, no more George Floyd today. So far on a Friday afternoon, it is pretty calm today. Oh, she cute. I should show her because she kind of cute. Huh. Oh, well. Yeah, so that is my interpretation. I remember a magazine that had the players ranked in it, but I forgot the name of it. Yeah, it had, it was a way you could pay for this magazine. And it was like trying to think, it was made, you know, it was pretty hard. It wasn't like it was like a harder cover like this magazine. And I've since somebody stole it. Because it was like dudes, Aggie Pride. Oh, I got to get a special one for the Aggies. And because he went to A&T, you know.
My bitches. You saying you can't control your bitches? What?
If he went to A&T, he knew how to control his bitches.
Got to have vision.
Thank you for joining me. I think, the one we are going to be down there November. I think we might go to homecoming. We had to see if that bed and breakfast was open because we were surprised. We like to get a bed and breakfast in Greensboro. We was like, whoa, this stuff is cheap down here. So hopefully, yeah, all is well. So hopefully I'm going to Greensboro this year for homecoming. I mean, it's a lot. We're doing so much, and you know, because homecoming is late October. There's going to be issues if we can go, but we're still thinking about it. We're still thinking about going. Ha! No, I didn't do the Aggie Pride. Oh, definitely Aggie Pride. I got to get some more Aggie gear. Definitely got to get some more Aggie gear. And I didn't even wear my Aggie, sport, my leathers jacket. I didn't even wear my leather jacket. There's my main man. Ooh, Lorenzo. Is it Atheron magazine? Maybe. Because they sent it to me. Like when I went to that camp, I went to a camp in Indiana. And one of the guys who directed that camp has something to do with the magazine. I forgot the name of it. It's Eagles over here, baby. Listen at him. And we always massacred the Eagles. We beat the Eagles 2 times in a row. We beat them in Charlotte, right? Aren't you guys in Charlotte too? And then we turned around and beat y'all in Richmond. I never lost to them. Unlike South Carolina State, I never beat them. So I never lost to them. Never lost to them.
It's going down like this, motherfucker.
That's how it goes down. We never lost. No, it's nothing but love. Where did they build the stadium there? Like, because when we played Johnson, because where we played y'all was on your campus. We played y'all on campus. But when we played Johnson, we played downtown. Is that where they built the stadium in Charlotte? Is that where they built the stadium down there? Because I know we played downtown. Athlon. I used to get the magazine every year because college football season. Athlon. Now I was in Street and Smith. I was in Street and Smith magazine for A&T going into the year I didn't play. Isn't that funny? The year I didn't play, they put me in there and said I was the one guy coming back. If you ever saw the Street and Smith with Marcus Dupree in it, my name is up in there at A&T. So that must be like going from 82 going into the 82 season maybe. I played 79, 80, 81 season. So I think it was the 82 season. My name is in the Street and Smith as the top receiver coming back, and I didn't play. So maybe that's the name of it. We talking about 40 some years ago. I forget what it was, but it was just a basketball book. It wasn't even football. It was all basketball. Yeah, it was all basketball. It was a basketball book. And I don't know if it had something to do with Sonny Vaccaro. I don't know who was selling it. Because when I remember I had it, and before somebody stole it, I had it in Greensboro, and I showed it to some people, and it was like some of my friends that was they were transferring into A&T, and they was in the book. They was like, oh, they had it, and they was in the book too, because we was around the same age. So I love y'all both, no lie. Street and Smith is the one I was thinking of. Yeah, Street and Smith. I'm in the Street and Smith if you got the Marcus Dupree one, where Marcus Dupree is on the cover. I'm in that one. I am in that one as the comeback receiver. So if anybody wants to look that up, I'm in that one too. No picture of me though. Just to me. It was my time. It was 8th. Okay. Oh, Lorenzo down in your state. And let me see. I got to look this up. I read it earlier. I was trying to see if it's still there so I could break this down, what they're trying to do. Where did I find this? Oh, Bronny James graduated. And you've got to applaud what LeBron has done for Bronny. I mean, Bronny made 7-point-something million last year as a high school senior. That's generational wealth. Let's see. I might have to look this one up. Where am I at? So here. Let me see. Let me see if this is it. Because what are they doing? Because they're doing something in Mississippi. I caught this earlier, and I thought about you. No, this isn't quite it. Let me see if I can find it. Oh, it might be in here. One lawsuit. Then maybe this is it. Yeah, I think this is it. This is part of it. Yeah, this is it. This is it. And I was thinking about you, Lorenzo. So in Mississippi, a federal judge, so like it says, protesters against House bill outside Mississippi. The bill, which was signed by law by the governor, expands the territory of state-run police department inside the city of Jackson and creates a new court in the Capitol complex. A federal judge temporarily blocked the appointment of 4 state court judges in a majority black county that is home to Mississippi's capital city. Appointments that drew protests from local residents who said white officials were stomping on civil rights. U.S. Judge Henry Wingate issues a temporary restraining order at the request of the NAACP March 22nd to consider extending the order. The National Civil Rights, its Mississippi chapter, filed a lawsuit after Tim signed a law to expand state policing in the capital city, established a court with appointed judge, and authorized 4 appointed judges to work alongside 4 elected. So appointed doesn't mean, elected judges. So they're saying they're going to be able, the majority is going to be able to say, we're going to give you 4 appointed judges. Members of the majority white Republican-led legislature who pushed for the changes said they were trying to curb crime in Jackson. Local resident protests that state officials are using were usurping power in Jackson and Hinds County, which are majority melanated people and governed by the Democrats. Under one of the laws, Mississippi Supreme Court justice was supposed to appoint 4 circuit court judges by this week and to serve for 2 years, most of the current 4-year term. Thanks to emergency motion filed last week, cannot begin any undemocratic court packing in Jackson until it moves forward. Another lawsuit that challenges the new laws is pending in Hinds County. 3 residents were plaintiffs that testified Wednesday that having appointed rather than the elected judge would rob of equal rights. So, yeah, I was thinking about Lorenzo and seeing that. So, again, trying to stack the deck against the people. So, how do you think he's going to do at USC? I don't think they want him to win a championship, because if he wins a championship, it could doom him from winning a championship in the NBA, Carmelo Anthony. But if he follows, and someone else said Isaiah Thomas won the state championship in high school. I wasn't aware of that. I did not know that he went to, I knew he went to state. I did not realize that they won state. So Isaiah won it in college, state, high school, college, and pro. So, yeah, I think so too. A little late. Should be, I don't see national champ, but I do see good enough to get him. Yeah, one and done, no doubt. 2 years, I don't know. I don't know business-wise, it makes sense. That's what it looks like? Okay. Yeah. I understand. Let me see if this is still here. Tell you that there's I'll save this, but I mean, you guys we got to be aware. We really got to be aware, because I think too often we're not aware of enough of what's going around us. We don't become aware enough. There's my brother, Quanon Redface. I need 35 cents. What's happening? And I know you have.
Got to have vision.
And I got you 35. Just send your Cash App. Send the Cash App, and I got you.
Shit, boy, I'm trying to make me some money. Shit, boy, I'm trying to make me some money.
We are trying to make some money. Thank you for joining me. How long I'm going? I'm not going because she's going to be here in a minute. I wasn't going to go too long on the Big Eagle Hour today. But yeah, I got you. Just send me your cash app, but I'll send it right to you. On the outside, Mississippi gets looked at the same, but when you move this state, it's like two different states. On the outside, Mississippi gets looked at the same, but when you move this state, it's like two different states. Wow. Yeah, I can believe it. I can believe it. I mean, the amount of poverty in some places down there still, it doesn't make sense. There's several southern states that we can look at that the poverty is just still unbelievable in America. It's still just unbelievable poverty in places. Now, in this state, I can't really speak for up north because it's very rural, but it's like you don't see that just unbelieving poverty, the devastating poverty that you would see in other places. Like when I went to Michigan last, Battle Creek especially, it aged terribly. It aged terribly. I watched one part where they really cleaned up the crack areas, cleaned up the houses, gave loans to new people. But like this area, 30 years later, it's like it looked back like when I first moved there, back in the 80s. So it's like, I guess there's ebbs and flows of cities, but Battle Creek really looks terrible. I remember what my son said. My son said, looks like all these houses been broken into when he was a little boy. That's what he said. Yep. When I'm at the Gulf Coast, gets looked the best part of the state, while 601 and 628 was like Mississippi burning. Okay. Now I've heard like Greensboro, because remember, Greensboro is where you had the Klan kill the communists. And I've heard people still say, I mean, I think people commented even on this show instead of my last show, but people commented that Greensboro still had a heavy Klans part. And I think I've told this story before. When I went to Fort Bragg in might have been 80, because I was taking a physical because, as I said before, I was going to go to Fort Bragg because they had a way where they'd pay you $1,000 and you just had to go through boot camp. And it was just a summer thing. You could join if you wanted to join, but you didn't have to. One of my guys, my hoop guys. And so we went through all of it to go. And when we got outside Fayetteville, there was a billboard that said, "Welcome to Klan Country," with a white rider. And I heard that thing didn't come down until 1985. Someone finally burned it down by 1985. But up to that point, it was letting you know. And this is in, Fayetteville, where Fort Bragg is. And Fort Bragg was wild. I don't know if Nick Taylor got to go to Fort Bragg in the 80s. And it was a street. Oh, what is that street called? Bale, I think it was. But it used to have a bunch of Korean, basically brothels with the Korean chicks in it. It's they tore all that stuff down. It's not there anymore, but used to be kind of wild and live back in the day. Wish I could say the same. I got to work all Memorial Day weekend, but I'm going to have a good paycheck. Well, paycheck is better than celebrating under Memorial Weekend, and I think I've worked a few myself. So I understand. When I used to work for the city in Greensboro, I worked 7 to 7. And we worked outside, and it would be like people playing, and I'm working, and I'm in my work clothes. And at the time, I was working sewer. So, we're cleaning sewer lines with a rodder. We send the rodder in to cut out vines and stuff in the lines. So I got rubber gloves on and shit, so I don't technically smell like sewer, but still, I'm seeing people all around me because we in the middle of the street. People at their cribs got the weekend off, and I'd have every other weekend off. Say it still is. Okay. Still is. Okay. Say still the Greensboro still is a Klan area. Yeah, they let the Klan off. And you can find that film. Hell, did they want to get me for it? Let's see. It's probably still in here. NC Klan witnessed shooting. See if this will come up. Yeah, here it is. Here we go. I'll show it. Yeah, it's been on here. Fair use, whatever they say. I'm not going to show all of it, but I'll show some of this. And this is Greensboro. I was living down here at this time. My brother was here the day it happened. Turn her on.
Hundreds gathered this weekend to mark the 40th anniversary of the Greensboro Massacre when 40 Ku Klux Klansmen and American Nazis opened fire on an anti-Klan demonstration in Greensboro, North Carolina. Over the span of 88 seconds, the Klan and Nazis shot dead 5 anti-racist activists who were members of the Communist Workers' Party. 10
let me get to the right car.
other activists were injured. No one was convicted in the massacre, but a jury did find.
Okay, and this car right here, I think, is the FBI agent is in this car. FBI knew about this. Now, remember, I worked for the water department back then. My family had came down. My brother was probably in 7th, 8th grade. And we played, I don't even remember who we played, but we had a game that weekend. So we're playing in old Memorial Stadium in Greensboro, and this is going on. Now, I've said this before. A couple things happened. There was a radio silence right before the shooting. This is what all the old heads that work for the water department. I asked for it. I'm telling you, I worked down there 3 years. They said they were told there was no water services going in that area. They were told to stay away from that area. And they said there was a radio, because sometimes we had the channel where we could listen to the police. We could turn, because we was the same radio as the police and the other departments. We could just turn into their channels and listen. And there was a radio blackout on all the city lines. All the city radios was blacked out. So it didn't matter what channel you went on, they was all blacked out. And they had a Klansman member with them. And this still went on.
And the Greensboro police liable for cooperating with the KKK in a wrongful death. This is a clip from the documentary The Gun.
Yeah, that guy right there, if I'm not mistaken, not him, but the next
injured.
guy.
No one was convicted in the massacre, but a jury did find the Greensboro police liable for cooperating with the KKK.
Yeah, I think this member is the FBI agent right here. I think this is the FBI agent, so.
In a wrongful death. This is a clip from the documentary The Guns of November 3rd by Jim Waters, a news camera person who was on the scene and filmed that day. A warning to our television.
Now, let me say this. It's funny. This neighborhood they're about to show is where we used to pick up a guy every day. I mean, I literally lived blocks from this when I lived in what was called English Village. This, what you see, they tore it all down. And don't ask me why, but after this, they tore all this down. This, what you see, that neighborhood does not exist. This new neighborhood's in here, because the weed used to be up here. I couldn't imagine what it was like crack time. This was all called the Grove. It was actually an area where you could ride up in there and dudes would rush your car to sell you nickel and dime bags. So I don't know what it was like when crack came out, but this was just for weed. So I'll let it go.
Vision viewers, some of this is graphic.
We can take our country back from the Communist Party. We can take it back from the niggers. It's time for us to band together. If we have to get in the streets and fight and blood up to our knees, by God, it's time to get ready to fight. Give them what they want. Fight for this country. Yes, good man. Yes, good man. Country. Yes, good man. Yes,
good man. Okay, he is shooting at people and no one's shooting back at him. He is shooting at people. No one's shooting at him.
Jumped out and just started shooting in the direction of the thickest concentration of people. They seemed to be aiming at particular people. There were several police in the area who did nothing until after these murderers left. Police came in immediately and started arresting people who were trying to help those who had fallen. Nelson Johnson, was taken into custody, kicked in the head by the police. He was bleeding from the arm as he was trying to help people. And the police did this directly or indirectly. They set it up.
Images and sounds of the 1979 Greensboro massacre from the Jim Waters documentary, The Guns of November 3rd. Local pastors in Greensboro are now calling on the city council to issue an apology for the events that led to the 1979 murders. Well, for more, we're joined by Dr. Marty Nathan, widow of Dr. Mike Nathan. He was one of the 5 people killed in that 1979 massacre. She and other survivors successfully sued Klansmen, Nazis, and the Greensboro police. We welcome you to Democracy Now!, Dr. Marty Nathan, joining us from Baltimore. You were there this weekend. Can you describe what happened 40 years ago? Lay out the scene for us, the horror.
I first want to thank you so much, Amy, for having me on Democracy Now! And focusing on this really important historical incident. What happened 40 years ago was that my friends, a very diverse group of people who were planning an anti-Klan conference in Greensboro, and preceding it by a march that was to have started in the Black community and then gone across town. They were preparing for that march. They were singing, they were chanting, and into the middle of it drove 9 cars.
And let me say, coming from Michigan and always knowing about unions, my father was in a union when he worked for Eaton's. My stepfather worked at General Motors, but because he was in management, he was not in the union. So I was interested, and what you had in Greensboro was called Yanceyville. Now, I've told the story of Yanceyville before. Yanceyville was a yarn company. They made yarn, cotton. And what they would do is you'd have these businesses come in, and they would build neighborhoods. Kellogg's did the same. Well, actually, Post did the same thing. There's a part in Battle Creek still called the Post Edition. And so what Post did and what these companies would do is they'd build these houses, and then all their workers would live in the houses. In some instances, they didn't even get money. Like in Greensboro and Yanceyville, they didn't even get money. They got money that they paid the company because the company stores. So what they got paid, you couldn't buy anything outside. You had to buy it in the company stores. They were cheating people. So what these people really were, they weren't really communists. They used the communist name, but really it was a union. It was a union effort. And if we watch this further, you can see that they targeted the union directors. The people that got killed were the most active people in the Yanceyville mill, or maybe Burlington mill, I forget. They targeted these people. One lady was pregnant, and they killed her. So they targeted people. And I'll say this, it was like the funeral march for this was probably the one time in my life where I lived in almost an armed race riot rebellion. Because the campus basically shut down. where I lived too far, so I had to stay. And when we went to the stores, we went everywhere. The melanated community was armed. I mean, everywhere we went, they was armed. And during the funeral, they brought in the National Guard and tanks and soldiers because the funeral procession was like 10,000 armed people. Because again, back then in 79, and maybe even today, they had laws that only, they had black cemeteries. Like where I showed you the shooting was near the black cemetery. Matter of fact, where we used to go hoop, they built a park outside of the cemeteries. Like you hoop in this one part, and it was only a half-court hoop, small little park. And then the cemetery was kind of behind the park. So this is a part of history that, my brother and I got to live.
Loads of Ku Klux Klansmen and American Nazis who yelled out racial slurs. People chanted death to the Klan, and a shot was fired from the front of the caravan. People began to run towards the back of the caravan in fear of the shots. Some of the Klansmen poured out of those cars and started beating people, slashing people with knives. And then from the end of the caravan, which was where people were running towards, the men with the long guns, the high-powered rifles, the shotguns, took their guns out and very deliberately, without any seeming fear or worry about being caught for murder, began shooting people down. 5 people were murdered, including my husband, Mike, and 10 people were injured. The police were nowhere to be found, even though actually the 10th car in that caravan of Klansmen and Nazis was an unmarked police car, which contained the controller of the leader of the Klan and Nazis, who himself was an informant for the Greensboro police and had been an informant and was communicating with the FBI. That policeman in the last car did nothing except his partner took pictures. And the murders were accomplished. And some people who were working on Central America at the time and then a little bit later in the 1980s would see the similarities between this action and a North American death squad.
What happened? Who was put on trial? What were the results of the trials?
6 Klansmen and Nazis, the actual shooters. Oh, I wanted to say that as you saw in that videotape, in fact, all of this was not a mystery. It was all caught by 4 TV cameras on videotape. And so the 6 known shooters were put on trial for murder, and an all-white jury acquitted them in a trial where the prosecution, who was supposed to be, as we all know, representing the victims, us, was very openly anti-communist and anti-union. These people were all union organizers and leaders, both at Duke University Hospital and also at the Cone Mills Textiles. The prosecution said terrible things about us, and that was reflected in the media itself. And then an all-white racist jury was chosen. The prosecution never even alluded to the fact that the Greensboro police informant had organized and led this caravan of Klansmen and Nazis who murdered people. Never alluded to the fact that that man, Ed Dawson, had received the parade permit from the police and was being paid by the police, and never alluded to the fact that pretty much everybody in the police department, all the way up to the chief of police and to the mayor, knew that some violence was going to happen to these people who were gathering in an anti-Klan march.
Marty, we only have 30 seconds.
Sorry.
There were 2 trials. In both cases, all
there were
white
2 trials,
juries, and the perpetrators were acquitted.
They were. And afterwards, we did the Greensboro civil rights suit in which we proved all the things that I just said, plus the fact that an alcohol, tobacco, and firearms agent was in the Nazis as well.
And
this
finally,
was a North American death squad.
Faith leaders now calling for the city to issue a full apology for what took place 40 years ago.
As are we, the victims of the massacre. They have issued a very hollow.
I want to say this. The only thing that came of this, and this is in my young lifetime. You know, this is in my lifetime, y'all. So this is you know, this is not. This is something that in my lifetime.
As are we.
And so what did he say? I'm glad you're showing this, big dog. I heard about this many times here in NC. I've seen the video several times, but this breaks it down much more. Yeah, my brother was there. I remember when you and Dad told me to beat up Austin Garrett first grade. Mrs. Jensen let me take him down for 30 seconds. Elijah did the same thing to a bully first grade as well. That's good. Protect himself. That's what we teach. Hell, some of them Klansmen could have been police. More than likely they were. It's a damn shame. Yeah. And so they blended in. Yeah, well, it was also an FBI informant. One part I couldn't find, and I might have to look for it again, but one part that used to be on there was, if you can find where it's like they film a dude in the car, and the dude says, "You want the Klan, you got the Klan." Well, the dude that says that is who she's talking about. He was not only a Greensboro, he was also an FBI informant. Yeah, he was also an FBI informant as well. So they had the FBI there. Yeah, I was 18 when that happened. Exactly. I had just turned 18 in June. This happened in like October. I mean, this was literally my freshman year in college. It was my freshman year. My parents had came down, and my brother was probably in 8th grade, maybe. I think he was 7th when I graduated. So he's probably 8th grade. And I remember my dad come back saying, you know, my brother had went to the bathroom, came back, was like, "The Klan is killing people. The Klan is killing people." And, not knowing they wasn't killing people but it was like I had a game that Saturday. I was in Greensboro, and I was living there then. And again, working, like again, when you get information closer to the event. And so I started working 2 years from this event. I started working for the water department in the summers before I became full-time there. But I remember just talking to guys about it and showing you how dirty the police did. And so the police helped that then. There's no doubt that the police helped that event. Now, can I say overall living in Greensboro was bad? Not really. I can't say I had any racism in my job. Not really. One time a dude I worked with wrote some bullshit in the book because he was jealous because one dude I worked with was a Vietnam vet. So we talked all the time. He would tell me about his experiences. Shit, he was saying he was chasing his woman around the house with a pan and shit because he had that post-traumatic shit, And the other guy had never served. He was just he was in I think in the Air Force, but he never served. He was like the Cold War. Where the other guy went to Vietnam. So to me, he was much more interested in shit. So, El Dragon, thank you for joining.
You got to have vision.
So, when I talked to all these guys and they explained how, they blacked out the radios, it was a planned attack. It was a planned attack helped by and we could even go say, helped by the government too, because these people weren't just Greensboro informants, they were FBI informants. Oh, I wanted to say, the only thing that was ever done, one of the shooters got sued for $200,000. And one of the people won, you know, again, did they ever get the money? But that's the only thing that was ever done. That's the only thing that was ever done. Somebody won a couple $100,000 from somebody. Remember when I told you about FBI informant that was in the Black Lives Matter group during? Yeah, absolutely, yeah. Yeah. Well, you know, my brother would know this. In Michigan, they was talking about people was trying to kill Big Gretch. And I forgot to give out the Jaguar Energy for y'all want it. Here's the Jaguar Energy. But anyway, they was going to kill Big Gretch and found out that the whole thing was FBI investigation. The whole thing was, you know, like even watch Snowfall, watch Kill the Messenger, and watch how things are done, how the government can be so easily behind things. Kill the Messenger is a little better than Snowfall. It tells the real, you know, the real stories, the 8 million stories. So, yeah, the protesters should have been strapped. I take it back. The protesters somebody shot back. And I think that's what got them acquitted, because when they were shooting at them, somebody shot back. But the people that got killed was definitely targeted. There's no doubt. Now, I'm not sure which one her husband was, but they got targeted. Yeah. FBI operation. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And yeah, they should have been strapped, because down there, you know, you could ride around with a shotgun. And like you could go to work in your truck and have your shotgun in your car. Now, of course, that's inviting people to break into your car, but that's how it used to be. Or like when you got in your car, you could throw your AK or your AR in your back window. Like you could have, you know, a rifle, shotgun. You could ride around like that. And that was very common, that people had gun racks in their back, you know, truck windows, or, you know, you could have gun racks in your car. So everybody had guns. Gretchen crying fake tears. That's funny. That is funny. But yeah, how long have I been going? Okay, she ain't gonna be back for a minute, so I'll go a little longer. So, but you know, that's the gun laws were very, you know, I bought a bunch of guns when I lived down there. I still kind of hate I didn't keep that. I think it was the J-Frame 357. I found some pearl handles. The dude got me. Oh, that gun was so sweet looking. It was so sweet looking. Big wide body. It was that J-body was that, not the Dirty Harry 44, but it was still 357, like police issue. They did look like that. We still had them guns. Yeah, we still had them guns. Yeah, the guns being the racks. So it's like all the brothers I work with, you know, I told you before, one of my friends I work with, he wasn't really a friend, a dude I knew though. I used to always beg him for his 44. He had a sweet cowboy looking 44. I mean, that barrel was almost big as my finger. I mean, that barrel, it wasn't that big, but very comparable to this. It very comparable to this. That barrel was like that of that big cowboy gun. Because I'd always see everybody be hanging out. Everybody had guns. I said, you know, that pearl handle gun, I walked around with a gun bag. Like before I bought a car, you know, I walked around with a gun bag. So I'd be on campus with a big gun bag. And going to the restaurants, nobody ever questioned me, you know. So if I have, you know, I had to walk back to the apartment from campus or something, you know, I got a big gun bag. I told you I robbed a dude. The dude fucked with me one night, and I robbed him. Dude asked me if I wanted to ride. I was like, dude, look like I need a ride, and I robbed the dude. Like, fucking with me, you know, I ain't fucking with you. Don't pull over. You pulled over and asked for it. So I gave him the what for. But that's what you get. Don't bother people. Oh, shoot. That cowboy gun, man, that cowboy gun, I don't even remember what kind of gun. Seemed like it was a Ruger, but it was a cowboy-looking 44. I don't think it was a Smith. Seemed like it was a Ruger. And yeah, it was like, that gun, yeah, that gun is giving you a lot of. And remember, Dirty Harry, he had a big barrel. The dude, it was a normal 6-inch barrel. It wasn't like an 8-inch barrel. It was a normal barrel. Matter of fact, it might have been 4 to 6 inches, or maybe 6 inches. Maybe even 4. But it was an old cowboy-looking gun. If you looked at it, it was a cowboy wheel gun. That's what it looked like. But it shot them big 44s. There was some nice kick to it. I mean, where we work, we lived in the woods anyway. Not living where I worked. We did outfall, so we was constantly in the woods. Like the old Klan dude I work with, I told you I work with a Klan guy, and that dude, he would hunt squirrel, because once it got so cold, the squirrels, because in the summer times you can't eat squirrels because they got shit in them, but once it freezes, that shit kills the pest, the parasite that's in the squirrels. So once the spring or the fall hits, you can eat them. And so he'd be out there shooting squirrels. And then the next day, his wife would hook up some squirrels. And they was the same people. They would hijack trains and shit. I told this story many times. The first time I got my very first VCR that had the string. The first VCRs that came out had the wires. They had the wire remotes. The very first ones had the big wire remotes. So you had to sit and the wires wasn't very long, so you had to either stand there or sit somewhere to rewind it. Now, a year or two later, they came out without them. But remember, the very first ones on the market still had wires. That was the first kind. That was from them. They had hijacked the train, and he was like, I had been talking about a VCR, and he's laughing all the time, and he's like, yeah, when I did some work for him after work, he's like, hey, I know you want this. Like, hell yeah. And that was our first VCR, me and my ex-wife. Was the one with it had the old wire. The first ones had wires like these. They wasn't wireless remotes. So that had to been 80, 81, something like that. They had the wired remotes. Yeah, he wanted to give me a ride. But I put that heat on him. Because, I had told my bag and I had unzipped it when he stopped. So I'm holding it I'm holding it with one hand, but it's like my other hand is because I've unzipped the gun. And he was like talking shit. I was like, you got some weed and shit? He's like, yo, I got a bunch of drugs. And he pulled, man, I was like, man, run that shit. Run that shit. Give me your wallet. Give me all that shit. He's like, oh, it got to be like that. I'm like, yeah, it's got to be like that. Give me that shit. And I took that shit. I said, give me your license too. So you call the police right now, I'm going to fuck you up. So I said, if not, this shit'll be here when you come back. So you gonna come back tomorrow and I'll throw your shit over here. So yeah, fuck him. Fucking with me at night. It's like, okay. Gave him the what for. What time is it? All right. Oh, but it's great Friday night, no game or nothing. I'm gonna try to get a little pickleball in. I might, after I get done, I'm gonna do some running on this, I think. Put my knee braces on, at least get some run and warm up. I still got to stretch, get my stretching in. Okay, okay, I'm probably going not too much longer. Not too much longer. But yeah, that's how it was in Green, back then. Guns was everywhere. Guns was everywhere. Told you I had that Derringer, and that motherfucker was the crookedest shooting gun ever. It was the first one I got was a 38 Derringer. And it's, you got two barrels. And this thing was so inaccurate that I stood in front. I mean, literally, this is the pole right here. I got this little pistol right here, and one bullet missed it this way. The second little bullet missed it that way. I mean, that's just the funniest, weird little gun that it was so inaccurate. So then I got a 357 one, and that was a little more accurate. But you talking about a banger in your hand, a 357 Derringer, and you can get a 44 Derringer too, but the 357, you talking about something just a bang in your hand, it was more accurate. But that 38 was the weirdest thing to be, I mean, literally like this, because the first time I didn't believe I missed, so I got closer, and that other barrel, the bottom barrel shot it the other way. So I was like, damn, I wouldn't trade that gun back. I'm like, man, this gun don't shoot straight. Well, I guess it would have hit a person because it would like hit him on this side and hit him on that side. So I guess. But yeah, that was the days. But that was the days, so at least if it was somebody hostile, like, where they dragged that brother down in Texas and dragged him where his head popped off. I mean, I wouldn't have been in any kind of that situation because I had that bag with that big thing in it. And that big thing had a bunch of bullets, extra bullets too. So, hey, Chris, what's happening?
You got to have vision.
And you know why I robbed him.
Baby, I'm a walking dead man, is what they call me when I come.
That's why I robbed him.
I hit the loot juice and pulls up.
That's why I robbed him. Let's check in with Silva.
The Chinese platform, you already know they don't give a fuck about your black ass. And then
Silva, what?
the Chinese platform, you already know they don't give a fuck about your black ass.
I think you're right. I don't think they do. I think you're absolutely right. I don't think they do. They don't care about us. And what does Dick Gregory? And let's check in with brother Nick Taylor.
Flag because he wiped up Future's motherfucking ex-hoe.
Remember I made
Nick Taylor, you are rough on him. You are very rough on him.
Me and Bubba trying to rescue some kittens.
That is more like it. That is normally what he does. And we got to check in to my main man from Japan. Super Sly, what's happening today?
What are we doing?
Normally, just afternoon.
What are we doing? What are we doing?
Normal afternoons, but thank you for checking in.
What are we doing?
That's what I'm doing. I'm just having fun. And that's all it's about, is having fun, you know? I'm just having fun. And, you know, I do try to live a healthy lifestyle. And I wanted to just say, you know, part of this seems like this Alzheimer's attack has to do with what you're breathing into, has to do with what you're putting into your guts, and it has to do with what you're breathing in. And so essential oils, and, you know, I'm not pushing any company. I don't sell these, but you know, this is lavender, this is eucalyptus, this is peppermint, and sweet citrus. And it seems like, you know, peppermint, any kind of mint is strong against Alzheimer's dementia. And so there's a lot of ways that you can get this stuff that it just comes naturally. This is the kind that you can actually put on your hands. If you want to know why, not only do my rings shine, but look at that skin. Oh man, look at that skin. That's why it shines, because this stuff makes your skin shiny. So now some of y'all get ashy. Like my fiance got out the pool and she turned into Casper. I was like, where'd she go? Who is you? You look like a polar bear. Who is you? She looked like the cocaine bear when she got out. She looked like the cocaine bear. Because she was all ashy. She looked just like it, like the Cubs. Remember in Cocaine Bear, the Cubs got into cocaine, was all covered. Just joking, just joking. So y'all, I'm gonna end it right here. Hour and a half is good enough. Not gonna be on tomorrow. Not gonna be on to midnight tonight unless I'm just bored and feel like talking shit. But more than likely, I'm not. I'm gonna be doing shit. So come and join me tomorrow, and I appreciate for y'all coming by. Love to my brother, and love to everyone that came in. I appreciate this support, because without y'all, there's no me. And remember, I only make $50 a year, and I think I look pretty good for a person who only makes $50 a year. So my point is, no matter how much money you make, you can be the best you. You know, because I can't play big bank brings little bank with nobody. I only make 50 a year, so I only might have a nickel on me at a time. You know, when you only make $50 a year, you have the real value of money. You know the real value of money. So if I give you the universal greeting of love, enjoy your day. Till we meet again, say less. Till we meet again. Say less. Till we meet again. Say less. Oh.
It's going down like this, motherfucker.
Shit, boy, I'm trying to make me some money.
my bitches. You saying you can't control your bitches? What